Last presentation on the docket is Frank Ty. He's been working on basically pre-production for a 3D animated short. Originally, when he came up to me for his presentation, he wanted to do a 3D animated feature, and so I said, scale it down. But the work that he's done is basically a one-man show, and as well as Rob and a couple other folks. But it's an amazing amount of work and effort went into this, and you're in the making. So without further ado, Frank Ty.
Hello, thank you for all staying for watching my presentation. And today you are going to see my pre-production of my 3D animation, and the title is named Paco. Paco is one of my main characters. He's a chicken, and I have been working on this project for a year, and since last year. Okay, the story is simply about a futureless chicken trying to escape from a butcher shop, and I will have an animated play in the end of the presentation. I divided production into two different phases. Today you are going to see the phase one, which is pre-production, and modeling, lighting, texturing, and then a little bit of animation. And I expect to finish my phase two by next July, which is done the entire animation and finish all the rendering and finalize the project. And here you can see there's a few people inspire me during the project. Hayao Miyazaki and Mary Blair, Charlie Chaplin, and Mr. Incredible. And since I started the project last Christmas, so I also inspired from Christmas season. So here's the topic I'm going to cover today, and also the process in the phase one. Like start everything else, I start with a pencil and paper. I sketch out everything on a piece of paper. And I also did a lot of image reference on internet and from library. And I also took picture on my own. For example, you can see a chicken. I have to take picture of a chicken so I can model my Paco model, because my Paco is a chicken. And we kind of ate it right after he done his job. So here's an example of the final render of my three characters. Oh, by the way, that's Butcher, Charlie, and Paco. That's their name. There's some texture there. But Alright, then this is a sketch of my town center, which is my main things. And you can see I also do a lot of image reference about European kind of style street scene. And here's the initial sketch of my town center. And then after that, I bring to Photoshop, start to do some color test before I can texture it. And here's the initial model without any texture on it. And here's the initial butcher shop sketch. And here's the final render example. The butcher shop. All right, now we are going to a texturing process. On the image on the left, there's a model without any texture. Image on the right, you got texture on it. So here's an example of my Charlie character. He has 5 different color map: a head map, face map, body map, teeth map, and the eye map. And here's an example of my town center texture. On town center, I have more than 250 texture map on this model. And here, just for example, this is a butcher shop wall map, and this is a butcher shop sign map, and that's a ground map, and that's a roof map. I have about more than 29 textures in my whole production, include color map, bound map, specular, and reflection map. And the texture and shading I spent a lot of time, the most of time in texture and shade. I spent about 4 months in this process. The wake-up is something you cannot do without being a 3D artist. That's the most important thing for you to have. And after I'm done with all the modeling and texturing, now it's for me to start to play with the lighting. Lighting is the way for me to bring my stuff to life. I want to achieve a late afternoon kind of feel, and I hope that deliver that kind of feel to you guys. And the most important thing I learned in this process is keep in mind there's always air in dark area. For example, in the shadow area, you just need to give a little blue, a little light purple, and give a little reflection to just give some air into the shadow, so you make your picture more vivid. And here's the basic light system. I use the key light, global light, bounce light, field light, interior light, and a secondary field light. And here's an example of my lighting. There's a occlusion pass, and key light and bounce light, a global light, bounce light, field light, interior light, secondary field light, and a background color, background image, and shadow pass, and Z-depth. Z-depth give you the depth and field. Okay, in the entire production, every picture I divide to 5 different passes. The reason I use 5 different passes is because you have more control in the post-production. I have diffuse, occlusion, shadow, reflect, specular, and the Z-depth. You will bring all that 5 different passes into After Effects or any compositing software and dump into that big picture. The reason to do that is big time saver. For example, if you have problem with the shadow map, then you just need to go back to Maya, re-render out that single pass. Save you a lot of time. And here's an example. This is diffuse. And they add specular. You add shadow. Then you add Z-depth, give the depth and field. Okay, now we're done with the town center. Now we start to talk about the facial animation. The facial animation I started early this year. And as you can see from this picture, each head has slightly different shapes. When you do a facial animation, you need to create a lot of key shapes, like expressions. And for example, this is my Charlie character. I have about 20 or 25 shapes for this character. And then you dump all that shape into one big master head. And that master head will remember all the key shape you have just created. And in this process, ZBrush is the key. And maybe not key, but it's a big helper for you to create all that shapes. And here I can play the video. You can see all the shape I have. And since that's my human main character, so I have more shape than this guy. You can see more pronounced from his face. So all this shape will dump into one big master shape. Yeah, he has more shapes than another two. Okay, Stuff Theory is the resource book for this process. I pretty much learned everything about facial animation from that book. I recommend you to read that. And here just show you how I link all that shape to get shape together. Here's all the memory of the master head. And here's a handle. You will control the shape. And there's an expression editor. Then you use this guy to communicate between the handle and the memory. Then you'll just adjust, move the handle, then the shape will go to the base shape you like to do. And here, once you're done with all that connecting stuff, and now comes to the fun part. All right, now we are talking about character rigging and skinning. I hated this part most, but I enjoy this part the most. I hate it most because it's very tricky and you need a lot of patience, and then you have to be very careful. Sometimes spend hours and hours of time, and then I finally I forget to do one step. Then just screw all that 10 hours and go back to from beginning.